This is How to Lose an Audience, and today we are going to be discussing Julia Lemigova from Real Housewives of Miami. This is her pictured next to her transphobic wife. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look up Martina Navratilova on Wikipedia. How to Lose an Audience is basically this concept that I have that reality TV stars who were formerly fan favorites start to lose the audience when they begin to act in ways that are incongruent with audience perception, but they don't want to let it go. And the TLDR of this video is your reaction proportionate to the thing that you say that you are upset about? Julia came into this season with a hard-on for Guerdy. They were formerly very close friends, if I'm remembering correctly. Julia was one of the few women that Guerdy invited to her lunch where she told everyone that she had breast cancer. But almost the first thing that Julia says at the beginning of this season, before she announces the adoption of her twins, is that she's mad at Guerdy. And she has two reasons for being mad at Guerdy. Allegedly, she invited Guerdy on a cruise to replace Martina after Martina had a cancer scare. Guerdy came on the cruise and made the whole thing about herself. And then when Julia was announcing to the group that her and Martina had adopted two boys, Guerdy joined the Zoom, texted her saying she couldn't get the link working, and then Julia's response was basically, okay, well, you'll find out about it in the news. And Guerdy looked it up, saw what the news was, and just sent the word congrats. She said she never asked how Martina was doing while they were on the cruise. She didn't check in with her about the twin boys. She's just been very cold with her. So her response to all of these supposed slides from Guerdy was to get poppin' at Marisol's wedding dinner and throw a glass of water onto Guerdy. The behavior was so weird that you had Adriana, Julia's avowed best friend forever, getting on Instagram to make an entire post defending Guerdy, and you can even see that Lisa commented on the post. Julia lost the audience as soon as she decided that this was going to be her storyline for season 7. And part of the reason is the hypocrisy of it all. She's mad at Guerdy for not checking on Martina's cancer status, the scare that Martina had that kept her off of the cruise, for being upset that she wasn't on the list for dinner and all of that. Meanwhile, Guerdy is actively recovering from cancer herself. We see her going to the doctor to discuss her third breast reconstruction surgery. Her husband is begging her to take it slow. And it's clear that her diagnosis still affects her very seriously. She's constantly on Instagram interacting with people who are survivors of breast cancer, who are currently diagnosed with breast cancer, talking about her experience, what it was like for her to go through chemo, how her body has changed, how her self-perception has changed. So for Julia to decide that her storyline this season was going to be attacking a cancer survivor who's allegedly her friend in support of the cancer survivor that is her wife is crazy. To think that bringing that type of stress into somebody's life as their body is recovering from something so life-changing is diabolical. And her continual doubling down every week. Guerdy's the problem. Guerdy did this. Guerdy said that. Guerdy's a liar. At the end of the day, everything that Julia is saying could be true, and Guerdy could be a self-centered mess. But you also have to consider she's physically recovering from a could have been terminal illness. Maybe you could wait until next year to decide that I hate Guerdy is going to be the flag that you're flying. None of what she's alleging happened between her and Guerdy is justifiable and proportionate to the amount of anger that she seems to hold towards her, and the absolute lack of concern for the recovery process of this Black cancer survivor in support of, at the expense of, I don't know exactly what the term is, but in reference to her wife, a white cancer survivor. And I cannot emphasize how much this lady is transphobic. Like, she's not that great. Julia went from someone people enjoyed for her wacky attitude, her love of animals, and her weird relationship with her wife and children, to someone who was displaying some really cruel and callous responses to a friend when this all could have been an email. Like, you could have wrote her an email. Choosing this as her storyline when she just adopted two boys, she's in her 50s, adjusting to parenthood for a second time. Her wife is recovering from cancer. Their marriage has always been weird. We've never known what was going on there. There was any plethora of other options that she had, as well as 6 to 7 other cast members who she could have decided to have a problem with. It's giving desperate for a storyline. The audience sees right through it, and that's how she lost us.